There were seasons in your life when it seemed as though everyone else was moving forward while you remained unseen. You watched opportunities appear for others. You watched people receive recognition, support, and encouragement, while your own efforts often went unnoticed. There were moments when you wondered why your path felt so different, why your journey seemed slower, and why doors that appeared open for others remained closed for you. The weight of those experiences settled deeply into your heart. Sometimes it felt like you were living in the shadows, while everyone else stood in the light. Yet what you could not fully see during those difficult years was that hidden does not mean forgotten. Hidden does not mean abandoned. Hidden does not mean unworthy. Some of the most important things in life spend long periods developing where no one can see them. The strongest roots grow underground before a tree rises above the surface. The most valuable treasures often remain buried before they are discovered. In the same way, many of the qualities that now exist within you were formed during seasons when very few people recognized your value. God saw every moment of that process. He saw the tears that nobody else noticed. He saw the disappointments you carried quietly. He saw the nights when exhaustion settled over your spirit and you continued moving forward anyway. He saw the times when your kindness was overlooked. He saw the moments when your loyalty was taken for granted. He saw the sacrifices you made without applause and the burdens you carried without recognition. While others measured worth by visibility, God was building something deeper within you. Many people assume that being hidden means nothing important is happening. They believe progress only exists when it can be seen by others. They believe growth only matters when it receives attention. But some of the greatest transformations occur in silence. Some of the most meaningful victories happen when nobody is watching. The fact that you remained faithful through seasons of obscurity reveals a strength that many people never develop. It is easy to stay committed when encouragement is constant. It is easy to keep believing when success arrives quickly. It is much harder to continue walking forward when results are delayed and recognition never seems to come. Yet you continued. You carried burdens that few people ever noticed. You kept showing up, you kept trying, you kept believing, even when disappointment tempted you to give up. That perseverance was not wasted. Every difficult season added something valuable to your character. Every setback taught wisdom. Every disappointment strengthened endurance. Every lonely chapter deepened compassion. There are people who appear strong because life has been easy for them. Then there are people who possess genuine strength because life tested them repeatedly and they kept going. You belong to the second group. The fact that you are still standing says more about your strength than you realize. There were times when you felt isolated, not because you wanted distance from others, but because it seemed difficult to find people who truly understood you. You often felt different. You sensed that your perspective was not always shared by those around you. Sometimes this created loneliness. Sometimes it created self-doubt. Sometimes it made you question whether you belonged anywhere at all. Yet those seasons were not evidence that something was wrong with you. Often they were evidence that your path required preparation that others could not understand. When God keeps someone hidden, it is rarely because he wants to diminish them. More often it is because he is protecting the development of something valuable. A seed exposed too early can be damaged before it has the chance to grow. A foundation rushed before it is ready cannot support the weight placed upon it. Likewise, there are moments when visibility arrives too soon for a person's own good. Recognition without preparation can become a burden instead of a blessing. Influence without maturity can become destructive instead of meaningful. God understood what needed to be developed inside you before certain opportunities could safely arrive. While you wished for immediate answers, he was shaping endurance. While you wished for recognition, he was building character. While you wished for faster progress, he was creating stability that would serve you for years to come. Looking back, you may already recognize moments when a closed door eventually protected you. At the time, rejection felt painful, disappointment felt unfair, delays felt frustrating. Yet later you discovered that what seemed like a loss was actually preparation. What seemed like abandonment was often protection. What seemed like failure became part of a larger story that you could not yet see. Not every struggle you endured was meaningless. Not every delay was punishment. Not every setback was evidence that you were heading in the wrong direction. Some seasons existed to strengthen parts of you that would have remained weak otherwise. Some experiences existed to teach lessons that could not be learned any other way. Some chapters existed to reveal the depth of your resilience. Your story has value, even if it has not unfolded the way you expected. In fact, many of the most meaningful parts of your journey emerged precisely because life did not follow your original plans. The disappointments that once felt unbearable revealed strengths you never knew you possessed. The loneliness that once felt overwhelming taught you how to stand on your own foundation. The uncertainty that once frightened you developed faith that could survive difficult circumstances. The waiting that once exhausted you cultivated patience that now serves you in countless ways. God never lost sight of you during any of those moments. Even when you felt forgotten, He remembered. Even when you felt invisible, He saw you. Even when you questioned your significance, your life continued to matter. One of the greatest lies that many people carry is the belief that their value depends on how many people notice them. Yet true worth has never been determined by popularity, attention, status, or recognition. Your value existed long before anyone applauded you. Your worth was present before anyone affirmed you. Your significance did not begin when others approved of you. The reason hidden seasons feel so painful is because human beings naturally long to be seen and appreciated. There is nothing wrong with that desire. The challenge comes when visibility becomes the measure of identity. God was teaching you that your foundation must rest on something deeper. He was teaching you that who you are matters more than who notices you. He was teaching you that your purpose is not dependent upon public recognition. The hidden years were not empty years. They were formative years. They were years when your character was being refined, your heart was being strengthened, and your spirit was being prepared. Many people chase visibility while neglecting development. They seek attention before they possess the wisdom necessary to handle it. They want influence before they have learned humility. They desire blessings without understanding responsibility. Your journey was different. Your preparation often happened first. That process was not always comfortable. It was not always easy. It often felt unfair. Yet it produced qualities within you that cannot be manufactured overnight. It created depth. It created resilience. It created wisdom. It created compassion. It created strength. Those qualities now exist within you because you endured seasons that many people would have abandoned. There is a strength within you that kept moving forward even on your darkest days. There is a quiet courage within you that survived moments when hope felt distant. There is a resilience within you that developed because you refused to surrender. Those strengths were not accidents. They were formed through experience. They were shaped through perseverance. They were refined through faith. Today, even if some of your prayers remain unanswered and some of your dreams remain unfinished, you can take comfort in knowing that your hidden seasons were never proof of insignificance. They were chapters of preparation. They were chapters of growth. They were chapters of protection. God knew your timing even when you did not. He knew what needed to be developed before certain doors opened. He knew which battles would strengthen you. He knew which delays would ultimately benefit you. Most importantly, He never stopped working in your life. The same God who saw your silent struggles also sees your future. The same God who watched over you during lonely seasons remains present now. The same God who carried you through disappointment continues guiding your path forward. Your journey is not defined by the moments when you felt overlooked. Your destiny is not determined by the years you spent hidden. Those chapters were part of your story, but they are not the entire story. They helped shape the person you have become. They revealed strengths you did not know you possessed. They proved that your faith could survive difficult seasons. They demonstrated that your heart could endure hardship without losing its capacity for kindness. And that is something deeply valuable. Your kindness cost you more than most people will ever understand. Your endurance required sacrifices that many people never saw. Your faith survived moments that could have broken you. None of that was wasted. None of it was forgotten. None of it was invisible to God. The seasons that tested you were also shaping you, and the person emerging from those seasons carries a strength, wisdom, and depth that could only have been formed through the journey you have lived. There comes a moment in many lives when the pain of waiting begins to transform into understanding. It does not happen all at once. It arrives gradually, like the first light of dawn after a long night. For years, you may have looked at your circumstances and wondered why so much seemed delayed. You may have questioned why certain relationships never lasted, why certain opportunities disappeared just when they seemed within reach, why recognition remained distant despite your effort, and why so many chapters of your life felt marked by silence rather than celebration. Those questions were understandable because you were experiencing the journey from the inside, seeing only the present moment while carrying the weight of uncertainty. Yet God was seeing the entire picture. He was seeing connections that you could not yet see. He was seeing future moments that had not yet arrived. He was seeing the person you were becoming through every challenge and every disappointment. One of the hardest realities for a faithful person to accept is that preparation often feels exactly like delay. When God is strengthening you, it rarely feels like strengthening. It feels like struggle. When God is teaching patience, it feels like waiting. When God is building endurance, it feels like exhaustion. When God is developing wisdom, it often feels like confusion. This is why so many people misinterpret their seasons. They assume that because life feels difficult, nothing meaningful is happening. They assume that because progress is invisible, growth has stopped. Yet some of the most significant work takes place beneath the surface. Consider how much of your growth happened during seasons you would never have chosen for yourself. The moments that taught you the most were often the moments you wanted to escape. The experiences that made you stronger were often the experiences you never would have requested. The lessons that shaped your character frequently emerged from circumstances that tested your limits. Looking back now, you may recognize that many of your greatest strengths were born in places of discomfort. Your compassion grew because you experienced pain. Your empathy deepened because you understood disappointment. Your patience developed because life required waiting. Your resilience emerged because challenges demanded perseverance. None of those qualities appeared overnight. They were built through experience. They were formed one difficult day at a time. This is part of the reason your hidden season mattered so much. God was not merely preserving you from certain things. He was preparing you for certain things. There is a difference between protection and preparation, yet often they happen at the same time. While you were being protected from opportunities that arrived too soon, you were also being prepared for opportunities that would arrive at the right time. While certain doors remained closed, other foundations were being strengthened. While recognition was delayed, character was being developed. While visibility seemed absent, wisdom was increasing. Many people focus so heavily on what they do not have that they overlook what they are becoming. Yet who you become will ultimately matter far more than what you acquire. Success without character creates instability. Influence without wisdom creates problems. Recognition without maturity creates pressure that many people cannot handle. God understood this. He knew that your future required a stronger foundation than what was visible at the time. This is why your journey has often felt different from the journeys of others. Comparison has probably been one of the quiet battles you faced along the way. You saw people advancing faster. You watched others receive opportunities that you wanted. You witnessed situations where it seemed as though less effort produced greater rewards for someone else. Those moments can be deeply discouraging because comparison has a way of distorting perspective. It causes people to focus on what they lack while ignoring everything they have gained. Yet your path was never meant to be identical to anyone else's path. Your timing was never designed to mirror another person's timing. God was writing a unique story through your life, one that required experiences, lessons, and preparation that could not be rushed. Sometimes, hidden seasons are difficult because they force people to develop confidence that is not dependent upon external validation. They force people to discover who they are when applause is absent. They reveal whether a person can remain faithful when encouragement is limited. That kind of confidence becomes incredibly valuable because it creates stability. It allows you to continue moving forward even when circumstances fluctuate. It helps you remain grounded when success arrives and steady when challenges return. The confidence that grows from internal strength lasts much longer than the confidence that depends on external approval. This is one of the gifts that your hidden years gave you. They taught you how to keep going when nobody was cheering. They taught you how to trust your value when others failed to recognize it. They taught you how to believe in your purpose, even when evidence seemed scarce. Those lessons were expensive, but they were not worthless. They are now part of the strength you carry every day. There were moments when loneliness felt especially heavy. You may have sat in crowded rooms and still felt misunderstood. You may have been surrounded by people and yet felt emotionally distant from everyone around you. That experience can be incredibly painful because human beings were created for connection. Yet even in those lonely moments, God was present. He was not absent because you felt isolated. He was not distant because you felt forgotten. He was with you through every difficult season. He saw every silent prayer. He saw every private disappointment. He saw every tear that never reached anyone else's eyes. God saw the tears that nobody else noticed. He understood the burdens you carried. He knew the battles you fought internally. He knew the fears you rarely spoke aloud. He knew the exhaustion that settled into your spirit after repeated disappointments. Nothing escaped his attention. One of the comforting truths about faith is that God is not impressed only by public victories. He also values private faithfulness. He sees the kindness you showed when nobody thanked you. He sees the integrity you maintained when nobody was watching. He sees the sacrifices you made that brought no immediate reward. He sees the moments when you chose hope instead of bitterness. He sees the times when you continued trusting despite uncertainty. Those acts of faithfulness matter more than you realize. They reveal the condition of your heart. They reveal the depth of your character. They reveal the strength of your spirit. In a world that often celebrates visible achievements, God frequently honors unseen faithfulness. That truth should bring comfort because much of your journey has involved exactly that kind of faithfulness. You kept going through difficult seasons. You remained kind after disappointments. You continued believing after setbacks. You refused to allow hardship to completely harden your heart. That is not weakness. That is strength. Real strength is not the absence of struggle. Real strength is the ability to continue loving, believing, hoping, and persevering despite struggle. You have demonstrated that strength repeatedly throughout your life. Even now, there may still be areas where you feel hidden. There may still be dreams that seem distant. There may still be prayers awaiting answers. Yet do not mistake an unfinished chapter for a finished story. Do not assume that because certain things have not happened yet, they never will. Life unfolds in seasons. Some seasons involve planting, some involve growth, some involve waiting, some involve harvest. Every season serves a purpose. The hidden season was never intended to be your permanent destination. It was a chapter of development. It was a chapter of preparation. It was a chapter of transformation. And because of everything you endured, you now possess strengths that would not exist otherwise. You are wiser than you were. You are stronger than you were. You are more resilient than you were. You are more compassionate than you were. The struggles that once seemed determined to break you actually revealed the strength that was already within you. That strength is one of the greatest gifts your journey has produced. The fact that you survived difficult seasons proves that there is more within you than you sometimes recognize. The fact that you continued moving forward despite disappointment reveals extraordinary resilience. The fact that your heart still carries hope after everything you have experienced is evidence of remarkable courage. Never underestimate the significance of that. Many of your greatest victories happened quietly, when nobody was watching. Many of the most important battles you won were internal battles. They were victories over discouragement, fear, hopelessness, bitterness, and doubt. Those victories matter. They helped shape the person you are today. They prepared you for the future in ways that visible success never could. And through it all, God remained present, guiding, strengthening, and sustaining you, even when His work was difficult to recognize. As you continue forward, one truth becomes increasingly clear. The hidden years were never evidence that your life lacked purpose. They were evidence that your purpose was being protected, strengthened, and prepared. It is natural to look back at certain chapters and wish they had unfolded differently. It is natural to remember painful experiences and wonder why they were necessary. Yet when viewed through the lens of growth, many of those difficult moments begin to take on a different meaning. They become more than memories of hardship. They become evidence of resilience, They become reminders of endurance. They become proof that you survived circumstances that once seemed impossible to overcome. There was a time when some of your struggles felt permanent. There were moments when disappointment seemed endless. There were seasons when loneliness appeared to stretch on without explanation. Yet here you are. The challenges came, but they did not destroy you. The setbacks arrived, but they did not define you. The difficult chapters tested you, but they did not write the final chapter of your story. That reality alone deserves recognition. The fact that you are still standing says more about your strength than you realize. Many people look at strength and imagine something loud, visible, and dramatic. They picture confidence that commands attention or achievements that impress others. Yet some of the strongest people carry their strength quietly. They continue moving forward after heartbreak. They continue believing after disappointment. They continue loving after rejection. They continue hoping after seasons of uncertainty. That kind of strength rarely receives public recognition, yet it is among the most powerful forms of strength a person can possess. It is the strength that carried you through your hidden years. It is the strength that allowed you to survive seasons that felt unfair. It is the strength that kept your spirit alive when circumstances seemed determined to discourage you. Through every setback, a deeper resilience was being formed. Through every delay, patience was being strengthened. Through every disappointment, wisdom was increasing. You may not have recognized those changes while they were happening, but they were occurring nonetheless. Growth often happens quietly. Character develops gradually. Transformation usually takes place one day at a time. That is why it can be difficult to appreciate progress while living through it. Yet, if you compare who you are today with who you were years ago, you will likely see evidence of tremendous growth. You understand things differently now. You carry yourself differently now. You respond to challenges differently now. Experiences that once would have overwhelmed you may no longer have the same power. This is not because life became easier. It is because you became stronger. The seasons that tested you were also shaping you. One of the beautiful realities about hidden seasons is that they often teach people to discover value within themselves that they might never have noticed otherwise. When external validation is limited, people are forced to look deeper. They begin learning that their worth cannot be measured by attention, popularity, status, or approval. They begin discovering that value exists even when recognition is absent. This lesson is incredibly important because it creates freedom. It frees you from constantly seeking affirmation from people who may never fully understand your journey. It frees you from allowing other people's opinions to determine your identity. It frees you from the exhausting pursuit of proving your worth. Your value was never dependent upon public recognition. Your significance was never tied to visibility. Your life mattered when nobody noticed. Your purpose existed before anyone acknowledged it. Your worth remains intact, regardless of how others perceive you. God understood this from the beginning. He never measured your value according to human standards. He saw the person you were becoming. He saw the strength developing beneath the surface. He saw the qualities that would eventually bless not only your own life, but also the lives of others. There are people you have encouraged without realizing it. There are individuals who have been inspired by your perseverance, even if they never said so directly. There are lives that have been touched by your kindness in ways you may never fully know. The impact of a faithful life often extends far beyond what can be measured. This is another reason hidden seasons should never be mistaken for wasted seasons. Even when your influence felt small, your life still carried significance. Even when your contributions seemed unnoticed, they still mattered. Even when progress appeared slow, meaningful things were happening. God was working through your experiences, your choices, your character, and your faithfulness. Looking forward, it is important to remember that hope is not built upon perfect circumstances. Hope is built upon the understanding that difficult seasons do not last forever. Hope grows when you recognize that your current situation is not the entire story. Hope strengthens when you remember how many challenges you have already overcome. The future does not require you to ignore the reality of past pain. Instead, it invites you to recognize that pain does not have the final word. Your disappointments do not define your destiny. Your setbacks do not determine your future. Your hidden years do not erase your value. The story God is writing through your life extends beyond every difficult chapter you have endured. There is still purpose ahead. There is still growth ahead. There is still joy ahead. There are still opportunities ahead. There are still meaningful experiences waiting to unfold. This does not mean life will suddenly become free of challenges. Every person continues facing obstacles. Every journey includes moments of uncertainty. Yet you now possess something that many people lack. You possess proven resilience. You possess wisdom earned through experience. You possess strength refined through adversity. You possess a faith that has already survived difficult seasons. Those qualities are valuable because they provide stability when circumstances change. They help you remain grounded when life becomes unpredictable. They remind you that if God carried you through previous challenges, He can carry you through future ones as well. You have already survived things that once seemed impossible. You have already endured seasons that tested every part of your spirit. You have already demonstrated courage in ways that few people fully understand. That history matters because it reveals something important about you. It reveals that there is a strength within you that refuses to surrender. There is a resilience within you that continues rising after setbacks. There is a hope within you that survives even when circumstances become difficult. Those qualities did not appear by accident. They were formed through your journey. They were strengthened through your hidden years. They were refined through every challenge you faced. If you ever find yourself questioning whether your struggles had meaning, remember this. Not every blessing arrives in the form people expect. Sometimes blessings arrive as wisdom. Sometimes they arrive as strength. Sometimes they arrive as deeper compassion. Sometimes they arrive as resilience. Sometimes they arrive as a greater understanding of your own worth. The hidden season gave you many of those gifts. It developed qualities that will remain with you long after temporary circumstances have passed. That is why your journey deserves respect. That is why your endurance matters. That is why your story carries value. You are worth far more than the moments that tried to make you feel small. You are worth far more than the disappointments that attempted to define you. You are worth far more than the rejection that made you question yourself. God saw your value long before you could fully see it yourself. He never forgot you. He never abandoned you. He never stopped working in your life. Even during the quiet years, He was present. Even during the hidden years, He was preparing you. Even during the painful years, He was strengthening you. Today you carry the evidence of that work within you. You carry strength forged through adversity. You carry wisdom gained through experience. You carry compassion born from understanding pain. You carry perseverance developed through countless challenges. Most importantly, you carry a story that proves difficult seasons do not last forever. Your story proves that endurance matters. Your story proves that faithfulness matters. Your story proves that hidden seasons can produce extraordinary growth, and your story continues. The years that felt invisible were not meaningless. The waiting was not empty. The preparation was not wasted. God kept you hidden because your time had not yet come, and throughout every moment of that season, He was shaping a stronger, wiser, deeper, and more resilient person than you could have imagined. That person is who you are today, and that alone is evidence that the journey had purpose all along.